It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview the San Diego Waves FC's game day host, Freelance, Andrea Boyden. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in professional sports?
Well, I played soccer all of my life through college. And when I went to school, Arizona State, I I wanted to bring my love for sports into my work. And so that's when I decided to switch majors from communications to sports journalism.
Of course, what was that experience like going to Arizona State and studying sports journalism along with playing soccer?
Ooh, my experience at Arizona State, earning my degree was really transformative for me because I was really pushed out of my comfort zone, I'd say. I remember one of my professors would ask us to go to the front of the classroom and he would ask us questions about ourselves in front of everyone. And at the time, that was really scary for me, but now it's, full circle. I do it for a living. So I'd say I learned how to speak in front of my peers and kind of just get comfortable using my voice in a way.
Of course, how did you know that you wanted to one day become a sports reporter?
I think just that transition, like I said, from because I was playing soccer, and when I kind of stopped playing, I knew that I had more time on my hands and that I could switch majors. And I heard about sports journalism, and it really just piqued my interest mostly because it was sports. And as an athlete my entire life, I was like, if I'm not going to keep playing soccer and go pro, then I might as well work in the industry. So I just was really drawn to it because I felt connected as an athlete to the sports realm.
Of course, getting started in your sports reporting career, what was that experience like first working for the local Arizona station?
Oh, are you talking about 90 or the sports radio, Arizona
Mhm.
radio? That definitely taught me a lot about the radio industry versus broadcast because in class we learned mostly about broadcast. So I really got to learn the differences between radio and broadcast. And then it kind of helped me also perfect my journalistic skills. For example, like pulling sound from interviews or learning certain programs that are used in the industry. So it definitely helped me. That first initial internship really helped me with future jobs down the line.
Of course, what was it like getting started first on the high school level?
Reporting on high school sports,
Mhm.
PPR,
Mhm.
that was a really fun job. It was the best gig for covering high school football, I'd say. Basically, you would get there. I would kind of do a play by play in the stands. And then come halftime, I'd be scouting for either the head coach or the AD, the athletic director. And then I'd ask them a few questions. And I had a photog with me this whole time. So I was doing most of the writing and the scripting. And then my photog would be, taping the game. And then I'd say after halftime, you kind of get a sense on how the game is going. And then based off of that, we'll head back to the studio. I'll write out a script for the talent, and then it airs on the nightly sportscast.
Of course, what was that process like getting to write that script and seeing your stuff actually become on TV?
Very rewarding, because it is a lot of work, but it's rewarding work. When you're doing it, you're taking down play by play. So, in that sense, also you come up with your own interview questions on the spot. So it's really cool. And you get to see the talent kind of put their own personality into it. And so it's cool to see what they do with your material, and then you can make adjustments in the future based on the talent that you're working with. So it's really a collaborative effort because you want them to sound their best too. So you write it in a way that is tailored to them. So yeah, it's a really creative process.
Of course, how was that experience like being a sports reporter for the Prep Pigskin Report?
Yeah, so that was the experience I'm referring to. But yeah, so that was, yeah, just very hands-on, and it's cool to go to the games. I know that I'm sure it is in other states, but here in San Diego, high school football is so fun. I mean, PPR is just incredible. It covers all of the high school football teams. So it's just, if anyone has a chance to be a part of PPR, I would take it because it's really cool. And yeah, like I said, you have a lot of creative freedom as a sports reporter for them. So you do get to choose who you interview and write your own questions. You're taking down plays. So yeah, it's creative. It's a good time.
Of course, after that journey, what was it like getting into lacrosse and working with the local lacrosse team as an in-house arena?
I love this job so much. It was my first experience hosting. So it's a lot different than sports reporting because you really are a lot more animated. You're interacting with the fans. So it's kind of fun to channel that more upbeat type of energy, if that makes sense.
Of course, what was that experience like getting to channel the fans and having the fans interact with you?
Very fun. It was basically my roles as an in-arena host kind of vary depending on the game, but some of my duties each game would consist of, mostly interacting with the fans. So the production crew would grab a fan from the crowd, and then from there, I'm on the microphone. I would explain kind of to the crowd, like, oh, I'm here with this fan. They're going to partake in this game. And the game would either be, sometimes it'd be flip cup, sometimes it'd be chugging a gallon of milk. There's a lot of different fun ones, but from there, my job is to get the crowd excited and, up out of their seats and cheering. So, yeah, that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Of course, how did the in-arena host help you to become a sideline reporter?
Oh my gosh. I mean, how didn't it help? I think without my experience with the SEALs, I wouldn't have been able to work for the Wave. It just translated in the best way. It taught me how to really work a crowd in a sense, because you are on a microphone in front of thousands of people, and it is, my job to get them excited and invested in the game and the activities that we're putting on and the guests that I'm introducing, for example. So yeah, it really was similar, and I really think it paid off to work for the SEALs beforehand.
Of course, how did it help to work for a lacrosse and basketball team before making that jump to the soccer team?
I'd say they're all really different. The NLL is different in its own right. We had a really good in-game experience with the SEALs, so that kind of set me up for success, because the Wave was just as incredible. And basketball, was it basketball you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the high school basketball, that was for the LA Court Report. And yeah, that was really fun too. I'd say the high school sports are so different than professional, but different kinds of perks, I guess.
Of course, what was that feeling like getting to come back to San Diego and getting to work with the San Diego Waves?
Oh my gosh. I mean, working for the Wave was a dream come true for me because I played soccer my entire life, and let alone just hearing that San Diego was welcoming a women's pro team. I mean, and then I got to host for them. So it was just insane. I am so grateful for that opportunity. It is amazing. And there is such a big soccer fan base in San Diego. So it's really cool to be a part of that, just in any capacity.
Have you been able to use your soccer background as a player to help you as an in-game host?
I would say knowing how to behave around the girls, the players, um, just knowing when they need space and the appropriate things to ask them. And yeah, I think it's just, these athletes are people too, and they deserve the utmost respect. And, they're not just these public figures, they're respectable human beings, and they deserve so much. So, yeah, it's just, I think it really helps me to understand the athlete's perspective, I suppose, because I was an athlete for so long. So I think it just kind of helps me a better understand that dynamic.
What does a typical game day look like for you at San Diego Waves?
A typical game day would consist of me getting to the stadium a couple hours early. Then I would go to the production room and look over my script, get familiar with any guests we may be having, like any, those public figures, people kind of making an impact in San Diego. So I'll get familiar with what I want to say, how I want to introduce them. And then from there, it's just within a couple hours, we'll go to my hit location and we'll go live.
Of course, what is that game day atmosphere like going live in San Diego Waves?
I would say it's electric. That's probably the best word. Just the fan base is so good and they're so fun. And I just really appreciate how much everyone appreciates soccer the way I do, because it is the beautiful game. And I am just so grateful that San Diego has such a welcoming crowd of people that adore soccer. And the fan base, I think the San Diego Wave has the largest attendance record for the whole league. So that was also really cool.
Who are some of your memorable interviews that you've interviewed for the San Diego Waves?
So the San Diego Wave wasn't so much interviewing, it was more so introductions, I suppose. But one that sticks out to me that I will never forget is Tony Hawk. I have to say, because I had admired him my entire life and I got to introduce him to the entire stadium. So that was seriously a dream. I also got to introduce some of the Padres players to do, there's something that we do, the physical wave. So it's my job to get the stadium to physically do the wave. And so Tony Hawk and the Padres would kind of help me get the crowd ramped up, and I'd hand them the mic and they'd get involved. So those were definitely memorable moments for sure.
Of course, what is that feeling like getting to introduce those celebrities that do make those appearances for the San Diego Waves?
It's really special. It's really cool because these are really impactful athletes in our community, let alone the entire nation, even the world. I mean, Tony Hawk is such a household name. So, yeah, it's really meaningful to me.
Of course, what are some of your favorite memories covering it at home?
For the wave,
Mhm.
I'd say being in my hometown, I really appreciate. I adore San Diego. I did grow up here. And getting to do such a rewarding job in my hometown is very special to me. And I think on a personal level, I get to invite my friends and family who live here My cousins would come out and support me. My friends come out and support me. And that never gets old. It's so, I mean, it warms my heart every time. And it kind of puts me in more of a spirited mood to perform even better. So I'm very lucky that I have a support system that can come to my job. Not everyone gets to experience that, but I'm very lucky that I do.
Of course, what is that like getting to cover your hometown professional team?
It's really cool. I remember I reached out to the SEALs actually. I was working a different job at the time, and I learned that they were a brand new team in San Diego, brand new. And I was like, lacrosse in San Diego. I was like, okay, this looks like an opportunity, you know? So I reached out to them. I mean, they were barely getting their footing. And because I mean, no one had, they weren't here yet. And so I reached out, they're going through the hiring process. So I auditioned to do hosting. And yeah, I hadn't had any prior experience, but it goes to show just, put yourself out there because it pays off. So yeah.
Of course, do you have any game day routines and rituals that you do before going out to host the game?
Yeah, I'd say before I go to host a game, I will definitely want to brush up on who I may be potentially interviewing. I think it's crucial that I go look at the Waves social medias or the SEAL social medias, either or. It's kind of the same protocol for me, but I would brush up on who they're playing, the starters, what to expect. If the players are injured, maybe someone's sitting out that I should be aware of, just little things like that. Also on the socials, they'll put anything promotional I need to know, because usually that will involve me as a host. So if we're doing a promo day, promo night, if we have, Veterans Day, any special guests. So it's just important that I, look at those things online that are available.
Of course, what are some of the things that you learn now that you didn't know before getting started in game day hosting on the professional level?
That I didn't know before. I would say how important energy is. That might sound a little odd, but um, I really noticed the impact of my energy and me just showing up positive and how much that impacts the fans, because I am on a microphone on the Jumbotron, kind of presenting myself. And it's my job to get everyone excited and want to come out to games and keep coming. So yeah, I'd say I learned the impact I can have by showing up positive.
Of course, what is that feeling like having those fans that are first time soccer fans that appear on the Jumbotron when you do announce them and stuff?
Oh, it's so sweet. I love we have, of course, camera crews around the stadium kind of looking for those young fans. And I love kind of stopping by because they genuinely are so excited, as they should be. And it's the sweetest thing. So I just say it warms my heart. It's so cute.
What are some of your future plans in game day hosting?
Future plans, I mean, I would love to keep doing it for as long as I can. It's really a fun job. It challenges me in different ways to use my voice and my inflection, and kind of sharpen those skills. So for me, it's good to keep up. And it applies to sports reporting. I mean, it can kind of you can learn a lot from the job and apply it to being a sports reporter, I guess I would say. So yeah.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to get into being a sports reporter professionally or for a high school or college team?
I would say don't be afraid to try different types of opportunities within this industry. Like I said earlier, if it wasn't for my job hosting for the SEALs, I wouldn't have been able to host the Wave. So I'd say everything I've done thus far has proven to be beneficial in the long run. So definitely stay open to different types of opportunities.
What advice would you give those females looking to get their start in being a sports reporter and an in-game host?
To women?
Mhm.
Well, it is a male-dominated industry, but do not let that get in your way. I'd say absorb as much information as you can. Be open to constructive criticism, but I do want to say you're fully capable of doing major things in this industry. So stay focused because there's absolutely room for you to do big things and succeed.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Andrea _Boyd. Yeah, that's probably the platform I use the most.
Thank you again, Andrea Boyd, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the San Diego Waves as a game day host freelance.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Andrea Boyd, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.